Zach, how's it going, my friend?
Hey, what's up, Rem? How are you, man?
I'm good, bro. I'm so psyched to have you on the Dads with Mike show with me today. Thanks for joining me. Start us off a little bit about yourself, how old you are, how many kids you have, so people know your credentials.
Yeah, Rem, thanks so much for inviting me, man. I told you before, this is my first ever appearance on a podcast, so I'm super stoked to be here. This is great, man. Yeah, I'm Zach, from Florida, 36 years old, two kids, amazing wife. My kids are they're both boys. They're 7 and 4, and yeah, man, that's we're living it right now, man. The dad thing is it's everything, you know.
You enjoying it? You're doing good so far?
Absolutely, man. It's it it has its days. It's up and down, and but you make the best even when those hard days come around. You it's all about perspective, you know.
For sure. Zach, one of the biggest reasons why I reached out to you to have you on the show is that I noticed your pinned tweet, or what was your pinned tweet about a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
And it's something that really caught my attention because it's something that I think about a lot. I have two young kids myself, a boy who's almost 7 and a daughter who's 4. My son, he's in school now. He's in first grade. Uh, I noticed your pinned tweet. It was about bullying, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Just to start us off, bullying is something I actually think about a lot, even though it hasn't happened to any of my kids yet. It's something that I worry about, and I can't explain why. Because I wasn't bullied when I was a kid. I was made fun of because I'm a shorter guy. I've always been on the small side, and I was made fun of when I was a kid for being small. But I can't say that I was bullied. Like nothing like physical, not locked in a locker or anything like that. Or, uh, but reading your post really got my attention, and it really it gave me goosebumps. And I have a feeling that it was the case for a lot of parents reading that.
Yeah,
So can I
no
ask
doubt.
you to walk us through for the listeners and the viewers what happened exactly?
Yeah, it's interesting that you said for you were a shorter kid growing up, and got picked on for it. So my son, and this is our oldest son, he's 7 now, and he's in second grade now. He has been below the growth chart since he was born. I mean, way below it. He's been tiny ever since he was born, and so he's finally catching up a little bit now. We've done some intervention to help him with that, but he's been small, way smaller than his classmates. So I think
Okay.
that might have had something to do with it. But yeah, to get into the story and the post that I made, um, this day was I don't remember what day of the week what day of the week it was, but I was picking up my son from school, and the way that it works is you can either go through car line or you can get out of your car, park, and walk up to stand in a line, and then they release the kids on a one by one basis when they see you walk up. So normally, when he comes out of the door and sees me, he runs up and he's super excited. Both of our kids are really really happy boys, and he runs up and he's super excited. But that day was totally different. He was kind of walking with his head down and just wasn't his normal joyful self. And I mean, obviously, I knew immediately something was wrong, and but I had no idea. Um, so we're walking back to the car, and I'm like, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" And he kind of just shrugged, and he's like, "Nothing." And I knew something was up. So we get to my truck, and I start putting him in his car seat, and I'm buckling him up. And I asked him again. I said, "Hey, buddy, you okay?" And he just loses it. I mean, just like I've never seen him lose it before. Just breaks down, bellow crying, and I'm like kind of just caught off guard. I'm like, what's going on here? What happened? What could have made him this upset?
Yeah.
And so he starts telling me what happened. And the story goes that him and a buddy went to the bathroom together. When they go to the bathroom, they're released in pairs.
Okay.
So they always have a buddy with them. So they go to the bathroom, and this was last year. He was in first grade. They go to the bathroom, and he's in the bathroom, and out of nowhere, this kid grabs him from behind and takes him to the wall and shoves him up against the wall, picks him up, has him by his shoulders, picks him up and holds him up against the wall. Turns out this kid was a much larger third grader at the time, and says some stuff to him about his shoes or something, and then he said that he had made some kind of kissy face and kissy mommy something strange along those lines. It didn't really make sense. And he's telling me this, and I'm just like, immediately when he tells me that some kid grabbed him, I'm immediately clenching my fists and trying to hold back, my rage basically. And I'm like, what? How could this happen? And he keeps telling me, and his friend that he was with tried to get the kid off of him, and that kid came up after his friend, but then I guess his friend was kind of being feisty, and so the kid literally said, "You're too feisty, I'm not going to mess with you," and turned back to my son, grabbed him again, pushed him against the wall. This time his buddy pushed the other kid, I guess, and they were able to make an escape, and they ran back to the classroom. This supposedly all happened maybe 30 minutes to an hour before school dismissal.
Okay.
And they told the teacher told the dean, or they went to the dean's office, I guess, and nobody told us. Nobody called us. Nobody said anything. I had to hear it from my son. That's where the issue was from an administrative point.
Right.
We were blindsided. I pick up my kid from school, and he tells me this crazy story, and I'm just like, I don't have words. What do I do? What do I do in this moment right now? What can I do to console you when I had no idea that this had even happened? I should have been, that shouldn't have come from him. Somebody should have told us, right?
Yeah. What was your reaction? You mentioned holding back your rage.
Yeah.
And as your son is telling you this, he's obviously
crying,
crying, right?
I'm like, yeah, he's crying, and I'm trying to hold back a tear, and I'm just like, what? Like, in my mind is just racing. I just confusion and anger, and what do I do? What do I say? How could this happen? He goes to a private Christian school. This is why we sent him to this school, because
to avoid that
these
shit.
types, yeah, exactly. So that these types of things don't happen. And here we are. And I'm just like, what? How did this happen? So I console him, and I say, hey, we're going to get home. We'll talk to mom, and everything's going to be okay. And that's really all I could say in the moment. I didn't know what else to say.
You didn't go back in as he told you this. Did you go back in? You can't. You can't even go in, right? You can't even go in to see the teacher or the dean.
Yeah, no, not in that moment. And it wouldn't have been a good idea for me to go back in that moment, anyways. I was,
right.
Seeing red. There's just nothing good would have come of that.
True.
Interaction at all with any staff or admin in that moment. So
yeah.
So we drive home. We live right down the road from the school, so. It's a short drive. Get home, immediately tell my wife. We have a conversation privately about it, and she is immediately, obviously, like, are you kidding me? How is this possible? And so we immediately get on the phones and on the email and schedule a meeting for the following morning, first thing with, we had the principal, the vice principal, the guidance counselor, the dean. We had everybody in this meeting, and we were like, hey, what happened here?
Were the kids' parents there too, the bully?
No.
Okay.
Because at that time, they had done nothing about it, because they didn't get a full story. what we found out was that when the kids went to the dean about this that day, they kind of told her what had happened, and she, I wouldn't say just shoot it off, but she didn't take all of the information from all parties and didn't have the full story. When we gave her the full story that morning, they were all surprised. They didn't know that all of that had happened because they didn't conduct, they didn't actually bring the kids into the office and sit them down and have the conversation, because I guess it was close to the end of school and they were in a rush. I don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, we had the meeting, and they have a zero tolerance policy on bullying, and ultimately the other kid did get expelled from the school. It was a pretty big deal. So, and then they also updated their policies on bullying, as well as how they handle bullying after the fact, or any type of incident after the fact, and the notification process to the parents. Because that was really the big thing for us in this situation, was that we weren't notified. We were blindsided, when our kid came to us and was, bawling, and I had no idea what had happened when I should have.
Yeah, that's, well, initial reaction, at least they got one thing right, and was to expel the kid right away. I think there should be more of that, of this zero tolerance. I don't think there is that in most schools. I mean, probably not in public schools, at least.
Probably not in public school, but again, this is a private school, and they have a zero tolerance policy, and so that's the direction that they went with that.
Do you know if the parents of the bully fought back against this?
I don't know if they fought back.
They're aware of the rules, I guess. I mean,
yeah, and actually, they had given, after the fact, gave the admin their contact information for us to contact them. And so my wife did. She contacted the mother through text. I think she might have called. I can't remember. They texted back and forth a couple times. We were trying to get a meeting where all four of us parents could speak over the phone, just to have a conversation.
Okay.
And we had a time set up for this meeting to happen. It was the following Saturday or something. I can't remember. Specific time set up, had it ready to go. That morning, my wife and I were waiting by the phone, had the kids out playing. They never called.
Wow. Okay.
They never called. So we're like, well, if they're not going to,
no explanation. They just didn't call, didn't call you
ghosted.
Back the next day.
Nothing, just ghosted. So
wow,
that was surprising, honestly. It was, but.
And what was the intention of that call?
The intent of that call would just be to, talk about the incident and, see what's going on with the kids, making sure the kids are okay. I hate that for that family. It puts them in a rough spot. They had to find, put the kid in another school and do that whole thing. And that's not good for a kid, and for that kid to act out like that, something's got to be going on. I don't know, but we got to feel for him. It wasn't an easy situation by any means. And, certainly made me feel for the family, but we were kind of like, what the world, when they ghosted us like that. I was just like, well,
yeah,
okay.
You still feel for them now?
Yeah. Well, I do to a certain extent, but I'm also kind of like, all right, well, you do you. We're going to keep doing us, and that's it.
Yeah. I'm sure your son is fine now.
He is.
He's doing okay with it? Yeah. Has he sort of forgotten about it, or?
No, we still talk about it. We've made that a point, actually. That's been part of our process, is to make sure that we we discuss it. Make sure he's doing fine, because the last thing we want our son to do is bottle something up, especially at this age. Have something bottled up from now until he's an adult and cause issues down the road.
Yeah.
So yeah, we still talk about it every now and then. It's not, we haven't just swept it under a rug.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does he feel about it when you guys talk about it now? Do you notice anything about his mood or how he talks about it? How does he refer to that incident now? Can he not joke about it now, but can he speak about it more freely now?
He does. You can see that he has some resilience now. At first it wasn't. At first there was fear. There was, he didn't really want to talk about it necessarily. You could tell that it brought up some bad emotions. And there was a lot of fear when he talked about it, for, the months following the incident. But as time went on, and we worked with him, and especially now, he can talk about it very freely now. And in fact, our son is just so amazing. He prayed for the kid the next day. I mean, he prayed that, if he has some hate or something going on in his life, that God would help him through that. And
wow.
And that was, we didn't ask him to do that. We said nothing to him. He did that on his own.
That's amazing.
And he still does that to this day. So we're doing something right.
Absolutely. I was just about to say that's good for you. It must have come from you.
Well, yeah, I
indirectly.
I can't take credit. I can't take credit for that, man. That's God.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because you know what? I feel like the reaction of a lot of parents would have been, "Hey, did you push him back? Did you hit him? Did you call him names? Did you defend yourself?" Like, there was no anger on his part towards that kid the next day?
No, nothing like that. And we did ask those questions. We asked, "Hey, did you try to fight back? Did you do this? Did you do that?" And his response was no. I was confused. I didn't know why that was happening. And he had me so tight against the wall I couldn't move. And he was half the kid's size. I mean, my son was very small at the time.
Yeah,
This
not
kid
much
was
you can do, I
twice his
guess.
size. Yeah. And so, but we've since, we work on a lot of confidence stuff with him. He works out with us a lot. We've since introduced him to jiu-jitsu, and both of our sons actually do jiu-jitsu. I do it as well. We're in separate classes throughout the day, but we all go together and we work out at this jiu-jitsu gym, and that's fun. It's a good bonding thing for us at the house too. This afternoon, actually, before we started dinner, the boys both put their gis on and they wrestled with Dad. So it's an amazing thing. So that helps build confidence with him as well. And we talked to him about the importance of using that knowledge that you have through jiu-jitsu as something that you can use to help defend somebody. And he's like, when we first started talking about getting into jiu-jitsu and talking about that aspect of it and being able to protect people, he brought up that bullying incident, and he said, "Oh, so like I could protect somebody who's getting bullied like when I got bullied." And it's just it's a full circle type thing. It's great.
And he enjoys it now?
Loves it.
Yeah?
He's amazing at it. He's got a really technical brain. The way he thinks like an engineer. So jiu-jitsu is very technical. It's very, structured, and there's a lot of building blocks. So, I think he's going to do really well with it.
You think all kids should get into that? Is that something that all kids should at least know? Maybe not jiu-jitsu specifically, but should all kids know how to defend themselves by taking up a class like that?
Yeah, and I don't know that it's for everybody.
Okay.
But I think in my opinion, yeah, I think that everybody should know how to do something along those lines. But it's, it is a very physical thing, and some people are uncomfortable with that. And it's, you're really rolling around. I mean, jiu-jitsu is, it has a lot of similarities to wrestling. You're rolling around on a mat with each other. It's not,
Right.
it's not standing up, throwing punches and kicks. You're hugging up against somebody and, on the ground rolling, and it's very, very, very physical and sometimes extremely uncomfortable. So it's definitely not for everybody, but
Okay.
yeah.
How intense it is at that age, though? Your son's 7.
Mm-hmm.
How intense it is at that level? I mean, he's not beginner now. I guess he's been doing it for a year.
Not a year. He's probably been doing it for 4 or 5 months now. We're still fairly new to it. Yeah. They run through drills in a typical class, where they just run through some moves and things like that. But they do full sparring as well, where they're going at it with each other. It's great, man. The kids love it. They do great with it. Even our 4-year-old's doing it, and there's other little 4-year-olds running around in his class, and that class is a totally different thing. It's
more fun.
It's 30 minutes, and it's barely hanging on to those 30 minutes.
Trying to get them to listen or sit still.
Oh man, it's almost impossible. Like herding cats.
Yeah, my son, he did karate about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
But yeah, it was like, look, it was a beginner's class for kids between, I think, 4 and 6.
Okay.
That was the age group. And just half the kids were not even paying attention.
Yeah.
You could tell the instructor was just had trouble. The instructor was like, for those classes, they put like the teenager, who's been doing that for a couple of years, and it's his first time teaching the class.
Sure.
So it's just all over the place. So he didn't keep it up. But I've thought about getting him into jiu-jitsu or something else like that.
Okay.
Now that he's older, probably the kids his age would be a little more serious, I would think. I would hope. I don't know for sure, but I think it's worth another shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And the gym that we go to, it's a smaller gym. There's one instructor that's the owner, and he does a really, really great job with the kids. He's very good at getting their attention, and it's very disciplined, and it's a good thing for them. Really is.
Okay, cool. Because yeah, with my son right now, I show him some things, but it's a lot of punching and kicking right now.
Yeah, the jiu-jitsu thing, anybody can throw some punches and kicks, but a lot of people don't know what to do if somebody tackles you to the ground, and what to do from that point.
True.
So that's the great part about jiu-jitsu. And it's also good for smaller kids too, for being able to stick up for themselves and for other kids up against a larger opponent. And jiu-jitsu teaches you a lot of techniques with that as well.
Now, was that the initial motivation for your son or was that something that you suggested, getting him to jiu-jitsu, or is that something that he brought up? Hey, Dad, I want to do karate, or something like that.
No,
how was it
that I had
introduced?
brought up. Yeah,
it
was
up.
something
Okay.
that my wife and I had talked about. And I've got a wrestling background. I wrestled back in high school and did a little bit in college, and a small amount of jiu-jitsu after college. And I was kind of yearning to get back into the sport. I hadn't been on a mat in, almost 15 years. So I had been kind of wanting to do it anyways, and this was a good time to do it.
Okay. And what was his initial response? Did he say, "Yeah, Dad, let's go," or I don't know, I don't want to?
Yeah, he was pretty excited about the thought of doing it at first.
Oh, yeah?
But until we got to that first day and we were going to the class, and he was a little bit nervous.
Okay.
And there was some nerves those first few classes, but now it's all excitement. They can't get enough of it. They want to be there all the time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How many times a week is this?
For the kids, for the 4-year-old, it's 2 times. Our 7-year-old, 3 times. And
wow.
I typically I'll do 3 or 4 days, or 3 or 4 a week as well.
Nice.
Mm.
And can I ask you, for him at this point in time, is it an activity that he's doing for fun, or again, keeping in mind what happened to him last year, is that still the motivation? What drives him to go and do this 3 times a week?
I think it's the progress. He really likes knowing that he's making progress on something and learning. Like I said, his brain is very engineer-like, so he loves to learn new things. And I think, especially now that he's starting to get a good feel for this sport, I think he really does enjoy the progress.
Wow, that's awesome. And is that something that was important to you, for him to get into something physical like this? Like, for in your case, is jujitsu, and you've mentioned that you have an athletic history. Did you always want your sons to get into that as well? Or were you kind of like thinking, well, we'll see what they're into when they're a little bit older?
Well, kind of both. For us, we want them to do what they enjoy doing. We're never going to force them to do anything. We'll take baseball, for example. We've done baseball for a few years. Last year was my oldest son's first year in machine pitch baseball. I even coached. I assistant coached the team. We had a great year. It was a lot of fun. But at the end of the season, we talked about next season, which would have been this year, and fall ball. And he didn't want to do it. And we talked about it. It wasn't just like, I don't want to do it. And that was the end of the conversation.
Right.
We had long conversations about it. And at the end of the day, he didn't want to do it again this year. And we didn't push him on it. We're not going to force him, either one of our sons, to do something that they don't want to do. I just don't think that that's necessarily the way to do it. The way that we parent anyways.
Okay.
Now, that's not to say that we're going to allow our sons to sit around and be couch potatoes and not do anything. We're in something every day of the week. Both of our kids are doing jiu-jitsu and tennis right now. So every day of the week we have something. If it's a tennis day, they do tennis, and then jiu-jitsu the next day, and then it just goes back and forth. So we're doing something every day of the week, and they're enjoying what they're doing right now. It's awesome.
Wow, they're very active then.
Very active.
That's awesome.
Which keeps us very active.
Yeah, for sure. That's important,
very busy.
right? I mean, we always talk about it, and you see, you read about it a lot online, how, fathers or parents in general should model the behavior, right? For the kids to be active, to be in shape. Is that something that you think about on a daily basis? Like, I gotta show my kids how to, how to work out, how to eat well,
100%.
that sort of thing.
They learn from us, man. They model what we do. If we ate like crap and didn't do anything and sat on the couch and watched TV all day, then that's what our kids would see as normal.
They'll do the same, right?
They'll do the same. Yeah, that's the normal way of life. But we take taking care of ourselves very seriously. And it's not to say that we're super strict on everything. We still eat our cake every now and then, but and our pizzas and all that stuff. But yeah, for the most part, it's about balance, man. It's about staying healthy. For the most part, just eating whole foods and and working out, being active every day. If you don't get a workout in, at least go for a walk or something. Do something.
Yeah. Family walks, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love those. It's
they're the best. A
little bit hard here in the winters in Montreal.
Can imagine, yeah.
But during the summer and the spring, even the fall, until now it's not so bad. We can still do it. We take our family walks, all 4 of us, almost every day, I can say. And
That's
it's
great.
just the kids enjoy it, and if they're doing it now, I have a good feeling that they'll keep it up. If it's introduced to them early enough, I think it could become a habit that they want to keep, because it's fun at the same time, right? We make it fun.
Absolutely.
And we talk. And you know what? Another thing is that when we do those kinds of things, that's when they tend to open up the most. It's not when he's coming home from school and I'm drilling him with questions. Hey, how was your day? Hey, what'd you do? Who'd you play with? What'd you learn? I'm getting good to every single question I ask. But you do something with him, coloring or playing outside or taking a walk. And then on his own, he'll start to open up without you even asking. He'll just bring something up out of the blue. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, tell me more about it.
Yeah. I literally asked you that question like 20 minutes ago, but yeah, please tell me more.
Yeah, it's funny how that works.
Yeah.
Do you find it hard to encourage the fitness and the nutrition in a society where, let's face it, we still got a lot of work to do with our peers? Yeah. We're surrounded by crap food, man, everywhere. Groceries, totally. Pharmacies. It's unbelievable. And kids, birthday parties. My friends' kids. Dude, my son was just telling me today, actually. This just happened today, no joke. Lunchtime in school. He tells me, Dad, you know what this one kid had for lunch? And I was like, no, what do you have? He said he had 4 chicken McNuggets from McDonald's. I'm like, oh, okay. What do you think about that? And he knows. I mean, we speak about it a lot. My wife and I, we're often bashing McDonald's just because come on. It's the worst thing you can eat.
Our kids don't eat McDonald's.
Mine either, man. It's poison. And we talk about it like that. We've mention it quite often about the foods that are good for you and the foods that are not so good for you. And he told me that's horrible. How can you have that for lunch? So they know, but they still see it, and because we're talking about it, but around them it's just it's very present in their environment.
Well, when they see their peers doing it all the time, they're like, well, why do they have that all the, they eat that all the time or whatever. And they're like, well, we don't, we do our best to take care of our bodies. And, you had mentioned like birthday parties and things like that. Like I said, we eat our cake too, man. They still have candy every now and then and, this and that, but, like sodas, for example, we don't even keep sodas in our house. We don't do soda at all. There's no sugary drinks that we do at all. We drink water.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Yeah. Their treat of a drink is lemonade every now and then. Actually, we'll do lemonade, and that's a good treat for them. They love it. They're all about it.
Yeah, we don't cut everything out. Obviously there's some things though that we are zero tolerant about, like McDonald's.
Yeah.
Sodas. My kids have never tasted sodas.
Same.
For me, that's just it's not something they need to have, even on an occasional basis.
No,
it's just not something they need to get introduced to.
The soda thing is just such. If people, man, if people have an issue with their health or with their weight or anything like that, half the people just need to stop drinking soda. Just stop drinking soda. There's so much sugar. It's so bad for you.
That and alcohol, right?
And alcohol, yeah, that'll do it too.
That's another thing that I've completely cut out.
Have you really?
Zero.
Nice, good for you.
No alcohol. And look,
I can't say the same for us, but we've definitely cut way back from our college days for sure. But
okay,
yeah.
No, it never. Well, for me, it was never something that I did a lot. So it was kind of easy. I should explain. It was kind of easy for me to do that because drinking a beer for me was like one beer with pizza or one beer with my buddies watching a hockey game.
Sure.
It was that kind of thing. Whereas for a lot of guys, it's never one beer. It's one after the other all night long. It becomes like 12 beers.
I've been there, brother. Yeah.
College days, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like recent years, adulthood. No. It never used to be like a thing that I did that much. So cutting it out for me was almost a no-brainer.
Good for you, man.
Just because I noticed the benefits right off the bat. I used to be pretty chubby, actually.
Okay.
Pretty recently too, like about 2 years ago, I noticed that my weight had really gone up. And for a short guy like me, I mean, you could see it. It shows,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
clear. And one of the first things I decided to cut out was alcohol. And just that by itself made a huge difference. I mean, they
Major.
don't call it a beer belly for nothing.
Yeah, dude. It's serious. Yeah. If if that's something that you're doing on a daily basis, and it's something that you're worried about your health and your weight, cutting that out, cutting the sodas out, it's a big deal.
Is that something that you recommend to a lot of guys? Let's say a father reaches out to you, says, Zach, you know what, I've been really slacking on the fitness, and I'm not eating really well. You're a fit guy, you know what you're talking about. You've done it for a while. How do you recommend I start this thing off? What should I do? Should I weight train 5 days a week and eat chicken breast and broccoli, or what? What do I got to do?
Yeah, absolutely not. It's a terrible way to start, man, because you won't keep doing it.
Yeah,
People need to find something that is sustainable, and it's baby steps, man. Especially if you have really bad habits, if you're drinking sodas every day, multiple sodas every day, and eating like crap, and and drinking alcohol every day or every other day, or whatever that may look like. You know, those are things that you kind of have to wean off of a little bit, because that could hurt you, and then you're gonna want it more. And then as far as the working out 5 days a week, absolutely not. If you go from 0 to 5 days a week, you're going to be so sore within a few days that you don't want to keep going, and then you're not going to be able to build the habit. That's really what it's all about. It all boils down to is building those healthy habits. So yeah, it's starting off slow, and a couple days a week. You really don't need. Here's a misconception. Everybody thinks that you need to go and spend an hour or 2 hours in the gym and do all of this stuff and know how to do all of these things. You just need 20 minutes. Take 20 minutes out of your day, get down and do some push-ups, do some air squats, do some lunges, do some sit-ups. 20 minutes. Anybody
body
can find
weight
20
stuff.
minutes. Anybody can find 20 minutes,
Yeah,
and it's just building those daily consistent habits. That's what it's all
yeah,
about.
for sure. And for especially when you're a busy 9 to 5 father, so many things going on. It's hard. I admit in the beginning I was like, okay, where am I gonna fit these workouts in?
Mm-hmm.
I was one of those guys. You just mentioned it. Oh man, if I'm gonna do this, like I gotta plan out an hour, 3 or 4 times a week at least.
Right.
But it's just for somebody that's busy and with the kids, and if you want to be with your kids after you get off work. I mean, a lot of guys, they can go to the gym right after they get off work, but for me, that's not what I want to do. I get off work, I want to go see my kids. My kids are at the age where they come home from school and they want to play with daddy.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
am I going to say no? I got to go to the gym.
Yeah.
That would not. That's not me. I know some guys can do it, and that's fine. That's not me. If my kids are at the age that they would still want to play with me, I'm going to be there. You can bet your ass
Yeah.
I'm going to be there.
100%,
So I
man.
had to find another way to do it. And you know what? For me, in the beginning, it was lunch breaks.
Okay.
Working out during my lunch breaks. And I'm lucky. I get to work from home 4 days out of 5. I got my little home gym in the basement, so that helps a lot.
Very good.
So I used to do it during my lunch hour. And then I forget how it happened, but I slowly transitioned into waking up early, because I found that sometimes I was so busy during the day with my 9 to 5, and I had to run some errands or something and my lunch break, so I'd skip 1 or 2. I'm like, oh no, this is no good. I don't want to be skipping them.
Mm-hmm.
What's a time that I can absolutely do it, and then it won't be something that I say, oh, I can't, that I don't have an excuse not to do it? So it was between waking up way early or doing it in the evening after the kids are asleep, which is not ideal.
No.
Kids go to bed around 8. By that time, I'm done.
I'm the same way,
wiped.
man. Yeah.
So to do an intense workout, and look, if you're not gonna work out that many days a week, and it's not gonna be a long workout, 20 minutes, but 20 minutes has to be an intense 20 minutes,
Yeah.
right?
You got to get after it.
Yeah. We're talking close to failure, if not failure, right? On each
Sure.
set.
Yeah.
So that was my mentality going in. So like doing that at 8:30 in the evening, that's just not happening. So the only other option was waking up early before the kids do, which is what I do now. I wake up at 5 a.m.
Good for
It
you.
sucked. It sucked in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It
Now,
sucked.
what time were you waking up before? Typically.
6:30.
Okay. So
Right,
you
and
went
that's-
straight from 6 to 6:30 to going into 5, just like cold turkey like that, like just.
No, so I did it gradually. So
I was
I
gonna
was waking
say.
up at 6 because that's like half an hour before my son needs to wake up for school.
Mm,
He needs to wake up at 6:30, so I would wake up at 6 just to get ready before him.
sure.
But to work out, I gradually started waking up at 5:30,
Mm-hmm.
and 5:30 became 5:15, and then 5:15 became 5 after a few weeks.
It's like, hey man, what's another 15 minutes? We
15
can do
minutes,
this.
bro.
Yeah.
It's all good. I can do it.
Yeah.
Look, if I had gone from waking up at 6 to 5 right away,
Again,
can't say that I
turns
would have
in-
kept it up.
Right. That turns into that. Is it
Knowing
sustainable?
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and now look, it's part of my routine.
That's it, man.
I wake up at
You-
5.
You build those healthy habits.
Yeah. And look, it's like you said, it's not, look, I'm not working out from 5 to 6. It's, for me, my workouts are 30, maybe 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just because, I do weight training. And since I try to go as heavy as possible, I'm on the progressive overload. I think that's, if you're trying to build muscle, which is what I'm still trying to do, is, you got to do progressive overload. So lifting heavy, as heavy as you can. And so I do rest a lot between sets. I'm not doing like 30 seconds. I'm probably resting like 3-4 minutes between sets. So
Okay.
I can kill it on the second and third sets as well.
Yeah.
Is that a good way to go about it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good way to build muscle for sure. If you're lifting heavy, doing those sets, getting them in, taking breaks, letting your muscle recover, and then getting back to it. Yeah. If you're building muscle and that's your goal, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what it is for me now. In the beginning, I was obviously trying to cut the fat because I was chubby, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of just lighter weight and more repetitions.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going with, and then I slowly started burning the fat and had the nutrition dialed in. It was going really well, and then after a
Nutrition.
while, yeah, nutrition was the biggest thing, man.
That's a huge thing, man.
I
People
was
don't-
I,
people don't
and I
take
still
that so
am on
seriously.
intermittent fasting.
Okay.
For me, it's an easy way to restrict the calories
Yeah.
because I'm not the type of guy that's gonna want to weigh his food or count calories. I know there's
Yeah.
apps for it. I know MyFitnessPal or whatever it's called. I
Sure.
can't do that.
That's tough.
Do you do
tough.
that?
No, I don't.
Did you ever?
I've gone there before, yeah, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't sustainable for me. I just wasn't into it. But the getting up early thing is something that my wife and I both do. Typically it's 5. There's some mornings I have to get up at 4 just to some of my earlier mornings at my job, and I just shift that forward a little bit. So 2 days a week, I actually get up at 4 just to make sure that I can get in my morning stuff. And we wake up. We're talking hours before the kids wake up.
Wow.
And
How many
so
hours?
well, if I get up at 4, the kids are up at like 6:30, something
Okay.
like that. So it gives me time
4
to.
a.m. club. You're the Mark Wahlberg club.
Oh, no, that's not every day, man. That's 2 days a week. I do the 4 a.m. The other days are 5. And but yeah, I get up and drink a glass of water. I actually do yoga every morning. I get up and go out on the back deck and do yoga and meditate a little bit. Come in, grab some coffee, and I sit down and journal, pray, do some Bible study, read through the Bible a little bit, and get the day started.
Nice.
Yeah. Build those healthy habits, man.
Yeah, exactly. And going back to like busy fathers, what would you recommend as a program? Let's say not somebody that's obese, but like somebody that's just, the dad bod, the famous dad bod, right?
Yeah.
What would you recommend to somebody of that, like coming to you for help? I need a good program, nutrition wise too. What should I do?
Yeah.
What kind of tips would you give them?
2 to 3 days a week is all you really need of actual working out to start. If you're going from nothing to getting started, work out 2 to 3 days a week at the beginning. That way you can give your body time to recover. You don't need, like I said, you don't need to go to the gym for an hour. You just need 20 minutes, man. You need 20 minutes of some high intensity workout, build the fat or burn the fat, build the muscle, and yeah, cut out the sugar, cut out the alcohol, eat protein. If you're gonna eat fruit, limit it because it's sugar. And if you're gonna eat sugar, eat it in fruit.
Yeah.
Bring down the carbs. Not all carbs are terrible, but bring down the carb consumption. Don't go, munching on fries all day and stuff like that. But
yeah, carbs are a tricky one, aren't they?
Yeah, it is tricky, and especially if you start really getting into, for my wife and I, for example, a lot of the workouts that we do, and we work out almost every day of the week. That's just part of our life. But we do a lot of high intensity type stuff, and we also go for runs, and we do all of those other things. And so we do have to have some extra carbs in there just to keep us
for energy,
going.
Right?
Yeah. But
that's the thing though. Like if you're like me and you have a desk job, you're not very active during the day. Depending on the line of work you do. But if you're sitting down a lot in front of a computer all day, you probably don't need a lot of carbs, right?
No, those carbs are just they're not doing you any good. Yeah, you're storing them. So,
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Zach, you mentioned offline you're doing some kind of a 40-day challenge. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's something that I'm working on at the moment. It's not fully developed yet, but it's going to be a 40-day challenge for men, for dads, really, for busy dads. Even if you're not a dad, you could still do it. But 40 days has a lot of significance in Scripture, and so that's why I'm doing a 40-day. And it's doable too. It's sustainable. So it's a 40-day challenge. We're going to have daily workouts, and we're going to have some scripture-based stuff as well, to build healthy habits and really take somebody who's wanting to build healthy habits and push them to building those over time. I'm actually starting, or I've already started, a free accountability group that I just started. We're in the 4th day now, I think. I've got 23 guys in this group, and we are doing 2 weeks of 14 days of 50 push-ups a day. And it's going great so far, man. These guys are super active in this group. It's just a group chat that I started. And these guys are super active. And I've had some of them DM me privately saying that, this is a really great thing. And, this is just what I needed. I'd been looking for a reason to start working out again, and this is giving me the push. So I'm hoping that what I can develop with this 40-day program is the same type of thing, where, somebody is thinking about getting into it, doesn't really want to get into, going to the gym every day and trying to find a new routine. This can be their jump start and their new routine to build those daily habits, and also to build some brotherhood, and also help guys spiritually as well. I think a lot of us tend to. I've had these conversations with a few guys lately, man. A lot of men, especially busy dads, tend to start to isolate themselves.
Yeah.
It just starts to happen because it's easy, it's the easy road to go down because you could just fall into your routine. You do your thing. Nobody's messing with you. You don't have to mess with anybody else. And it's an easy thing to do. We tend toward being islands, and we need brotherhood, man. We have to surround ourselves with guys who have aspirations for bigger things, and are driven and have goals and purpose. If you're doing it alone, man, it's hard to find purpose. Yeah, we've got our family, and you've got your wife and your kids and all of this stuff, but guys need brotherhood. So that's what I hope that I can bring as well, is a sense of brotherhood, and a sense of like, hey, you've got guys here that have your back and are going to keep you accountable. And we can get through tough times together, and we can work on being great and being the best version of ourselves so that we can show up for our family. Everybody's got their problems, but we can't lean all those problems on our family. Our wife and kids have their own set of problems that they have to deal with.
Exactly.
We can't push that on them. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do with this. And, I'm really excited about it. Just having this initial 14-day group right now has been incredibly inspiring, man. I can't tell you how awesome it feels to lead a group that is this engaged and active and enthusiastic. It's the most incredible thing, man. And I truly think that God has led this path for me, and I'm finally found the faith to just take a step over the cliff and know that he's going to catch me. And it feels so good.
That's awesome, bro, and good on you for putting this together. I think we need more of that in our society, especially these days. So yeah, good stuff. Zach, let us know, where can people reach you if they want to join this group or ask you for help or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm on X, Twitter, at the Zach Sharpe, ZACH Sharpe, SHARPE. So the Zach Sharpe on Twitter X, and that's really the only spot I'm at right now. So maybe I'll venture off to other platforms eventually, but for now I'm focusing on the one. And
thanks so much for joining me on Dads with Mics.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for having me, man. This has been fun. This is great.